Chiaroscuro.
It's art time with Mr. Mayberry. Let's get busy.
Welcome to Art Time with Mr. Mayberry. Chiaroscuro in art is a word that means a strong contrast between light and dark. So in artwork, you'll see artists use a bright spotlight or deep shadows to create a sense of a mood or mystery. Today we're going to look at how we can draw shadows. For this project you'll need a piece of white construction paper or white drawing paper and a black crayon. You could also use pencil, but I'm going to use crayon. So let's get started. It's time to make some art. Also for this project we'll need, we're setting up a still life, so you need objects to use for still life. Now because we're working with shadow and trying to notice the shadow on the object, I recommend using some white objects for your still life so that we can concentrate on the light and dark areas and not be concerned with color on the object itself. A good inexpensive item for that are foam cups or foam plates. You could build a still life out of these. You could glue the pieces together. Today I'm just going to use a little bit of masking tape just to secure the cups. I'm making a stack here, so I'm going to put some on the bottom edge and then stack them up. Actually, I think, let's see, something like this. Okay, so that'll stay in place. Also for this project you'll need a light, a spotlight, and I'm using just a desk lamp today. If you have a more of a direct spotlight, that would work very nicely as well. But you'll need a light so that we can create a spotlight so that we can create shadows. Again, this is a desk lamp, and so now we have it set up. Now you might have the still life, if you have several students, you might put this in the middle of a table, and you need to be reminded that a still life is just a group of objects that are used to practice drawing or painting, and once they are positioned in place, you don't move them. They stay in one spot. I'm going to start by drawing up at the top of the cup. On the top one, I'm drawing an oval, and this is a good study and observation because you're drawing what you see, something in front of you, and it will look, if you have several people placed around the still life, it's going to look different from different angles, from different viewpoints, depending on where people are sitting. I notice the cup, I can see more of it at the top, so I'm drawing what I see here in front of me, and then it slants down either side at an angle. And I'm doing this just sketching it out. Another reason I like to use crayon for this project is because you can't erase crayon, or we're not going to spend time going back and trying to erase what we're drawing. We're just moving forward and trying to capture what we see on paper. Okay, here's the bottom of the cup, actually this edge right here, and then I'm going to draw, here's the bottom edge. Okay, now I can go back and do, like, there's detail, these rings here, but I don't think I'd like to do that for this project. I'm mainly concerned with the shape itself, the outside shape, and the contour, and then I want to focus on the shadow today. Okay, here's a cup that's just below it, and it goes down in either direction. It's going to be close. I don't know if I'll have room here at the bottom or not. It'll be pretty close. Just barely. Okay. And then I have one more cup over to this side, and I see part of it sticking out here like this. And then it slants down almost behind there. Okay. And I'm using a crayon, like I said, but this one has no paper on it. That was the other thing I wanted to mention, and you'll see why here in a second. Okay, so I've drawn out, I've sketched out my still life, and now it's time to look at the shadows. When you have a light source, the light is always going to be on the side of the object closest to the light source, whether it's a lamp or the sun or whatever, and then the shadows will be on the opposite side. Then you get kind of a neat thing happening up in top here. I'm going to draw, there's a second ledge. I noticed the back edge, you can see it sticking up above, and the same on these cups. So the light's going to hit that in a really neat way. Okay, now I'm seeing most of the shadow on this side, so I'm going to use the side of the crayon. This is where it comes in handy to have no paper on that, and use that to create the shadow on the right side. The nice thing about doing it this way, you want to try to make it go, it's a lot darker on the edge than it is as you get closer to the light. So we're going to be gradually going from dark to light here, and you can do that well with the side of the crayon. I'm going to use the end here for the edge, kind of redraw some of this line so I can see it better. So I want it darkest towards the outside, and then it's getting lighter as it goes around, getting lighter. Okay, because of the where the light is placed, there's shadow up here on top. Except for right on the very top edge, there's a little bit of light that shows up there. So I'm going to try to leave the very top, especially on the right side, that's where it's hitting the most. So there's a little bit of light right up in here. Okay, and then now I'll work my way down here. And it's going to be the same type of thing on the other two cups. There's a little more shadow on this side here because of this cup being in between it and the light. So that's going to be a little bit different, but most of this is going to be the same. Now you're watching me do this. This is going to be something you're going to experience as you set up your own still life. So a lot of this will be by observation and what you see there in front of you. So it's not something that you can necessarily just duplicate what I'm doing right now. You kind of have to look for yourself to see what your still life looks like, and then try to draw what you see. Okay, there's that one. Like I said, there's going to be some shadow right here on this edge, and then there's light, and then there's more shadow on the right. And then also there's a little bit of shadow underneath where this cup, the top one, is resting on the one below. And then this is pretty much all in shadow over here on this side. I have to go back and redraw my outline. Okay, now if I wanted, I could go back and do, the details, the extra lines that are on these. I just do a little bit here of what's at the top, and I'm not going to do all the rest. So another nice thing about a still life is you make choices on what you draw and what you leave out. Something else you can do to create more of a shadow here, you could put a little bit of shadow on the outside edge of where the light areas are, and that'll create contrast as well. That'll have the light and dark next to each other, so that helps create a little bit of contrast in there. Make the brights look brighter and the shadows look darker. I like this here. I'm going to leave that in here, and there is some shadow on the table on this side as well. Okay, so find objects to use for a still life, set it up, turn on a spotlight on the object or objects, and then see what you can come up with. Use your black crayon and white paper and draw it first, then do all the shading. And next week we're going to be looking at light. I would like to use the same setup here, the same still life, and if that's possible, go ahead and leave it there or set it up next week in the same manner, just so we can compare today's drawing with next week's drawing. This is our project for today, drawing shadows. Keep your still life, we'll need it for next week's project. Thank you for coming to art class, and I'll see you next time.
See you later. Hi, bye.